Hi, everyone. So, for this week, I want to share a little bit in what goes under um, growth and under slaying, kind of doing things spectacularly well, or doing things that maybe are not seen as the norm. They're kind of iconic. We leave it for the special people we think that are gifted or talented. And I did a peace and happiness workshop this weekend, and kind of fast forwarding the whole 5 hours to the end of the day, there was a young man, and he said, well, I kind of really agree with the conclusion that he came to at the end of the day, that there is nothing different about us and people that we see as icons, people that we see as the greats, the goats, except the fact that we don't go for it, don't put in the work, or don't have the belief that we can reach such heights. And so we just kind of settle for average or mediocre. And we don't see it as average or mediocre. We really think that it is like our best, right? And so he says, but if I agree with that, which I kind of, said it resonated with him from within himself, he says, then what would be the point of life? Like if we are highly valuable, don't need to prove ourselves, then we are just greatness, then what would be the point of life? And so I kind of did a meditation, and I had him kind of just take a couple of breaths, and I made him kind of really imagine and create a state of being, create the feeling that he was feeling that already, that he is powerful, that he is a human being, that he's precious, that he's highly favored, that he can do anything he puts his mind to. And then I had him kind of open his eyes, and I said, okay, from that state of being, do you just want to sit under a tree and pick lint, off of your belly button? Do you just want to be lazy because you already don't have anything to prove? And he laughed and he got it. In that moment, he realized that no, if you actually believe you are great and that you are part of the great I am, or that you can do all things, that you'd actually go out and do those things, and you'd be doing iconic things, things that you probably can't even begin to imagine at this point. So there's this sense of belief that in order, we're romanticized. I've talked about this, like the underdog, or becoming, or proving people wrong, or achieving, or, they said, I told you so, and you're going to show them. We kind of really have this so deeply ingrained. But the truth is that if we took away that storyline or that script and just really kind of came into the truth, and it takes a journey, and that's kind of like what peace and happiness workshops and the work that V-Saga coaching and courses does, is to help you not be told, but from within yourself realize that there is no limitation. However, once you start going after those things, it does not mean that you're not going to doubt yourself. And that's where that growth is, to move in spite of the doubt or the fear or the resistance that you'll have within yourself. And it happened to me this week. Very same course, another young lady, she had done a seminar. I think it's like a 3-day. It's a very popular. I'm not going to say the name because I don't like to talk bad about other stuff. But she realized, I said, so how was this different to these 5 hours to what you did? And she says, I almost kind of see that did some damage, because what she realized is that it didn't really get her to the root of her feelings, or it's some underlying issues, and it just kind of built to be a go-getter and positive, and you're made for more and you can do more. And that is very true. However, if you built that on top of a fake foundation that you don't necessarily feel and believe that, but you're trying to convince yourself, and you deny that there's healing to be done, then yes, it does, because it creates an unease, almost like an anxiety, because now you're really repeating these mantras. You learn these things and you really want to, I'm made for more, but deep down, you don't feel that's the truth. And so she said, just realizing from the workshop that she did this weekend, it was so powerful for her, because she realized, first of all, that she is very great. And it was much easier for her to now go out and be the positive person that she's been being, but be that positivity from an authentic place, like still acknowledging the life and the things that she's lived. So then I went down a very slippery slope. When she shared that with me, I was like, let me look into this course, this seminar, this speaker. And it's somebody that's fallen from grace recently, like a lot. And so I went down that loophole of reading things. And a lot of the critiques were that this person is not a licensed therapist or a licensed certified person to be, talking on matters like marriage or marriage counseling or parenting or kids. And so for a moment, it made me feel like, oh my gosh, like, and this person reached great heights. And I'm like, well, what am I doing? And then for a second, I just had to remind myself what I always teach is that in order to achieve what is not yet seen, in order to achieve the things in your heart, the passion of what you want to build, create, the things that you dream of. So for me, I dream in shifting the Schumann resonance scale, the heartbeat of Earth, the human base. And so that means I'm going to have to do things that possibly have not been done. And so in that moment, I took myself back and I reminded myself, a lot of your clientele are licensed psychologists. Some of your clients have actually been psychiatrists. And I believe the world of psychology and psychiatrists is awesome and therapy is great. So when I talk about that, sometimes from not the most positive light, I'm not talking about everyone. I'm not generalizing or the industry. I'm just talking about those particular individuals or particular experience. And so I had to remind myself, like, you may not be licensed, and I actually made that a choice because there is also limitations, and it's taught from a place that I have found can be very limiting. And I've been told this by many clients that they wish they would have found the work that we did versus the 5 or 10 years of therapy that they did. And so you've seen them in different interviews or things that I have. And so it was just funny to me to see how much I started to doubt myself, in spite of the fact that I recently have a mother that, stopped her things with Kaiser because the progress that her daughter was getting wasn't anything compared to when the daughter was seeing me. And so it's just funny to me that I live personally and experience personally the huge shifts that I have had with people where traditional therapy has failed them. And still, I could feel, because of somebody else's walk, doubting myself. And I'm just really grateful. I mean, this just happened last night, actually, when I went down that loophole. And then I stop and I look at things and I remember that there is no limits. There is no impossibles, except that we're taught that everything, like medicine, we're taught that everything has to come out of a bottle, or we're taught like this holistic ways is very challenged in some ways. And we're kind of finding our new way. We're definitely in a transition as a whole collectively. And so I'm not here to tell you what to do or not to do. What I am here to tell you, especially because if you're listening to this, you're part of the network, the V-Saga network. And if you're part of the network, we've probably worked together, you've done the workshop, and you've experienced the results, and that's why you're here, especially if you're not doing the healing portion. This is for my growth and my slay portion. So you are a witness of the work that we've done. But the reason I'm sharing that is to show you that even after thousands of people that I have gotten to somewhat of the promised land, I can still doubt. So I just want to let you know, look, you're always going to have doubts. You're always going to have those weeds, because that's what it is to be human. The key, what I'm teaching you here, if you're going to slay in your life, if you're going to grow, if you're really going to go out and develop things like we've never seen before, you're not going to be able to compare. It's not orange to apples out here. You really are not going to be able to compare. You're going to have to go within your heart and always make sure that you're walking as best you can without imposing or hurting on anyone, but taking your walk and just really go after your heart's desires. And when you doubt that that's possible, have the courage to keep stepping forward. And that's how you'll find, before you know it, that you've come a very far way. You'll look back and you'll see that you're much closer to where you're trying to get to. I love a rapper named Nipsey Hussle says that, if you look at yourself and you'll see how far you've gotten and you see where you come from, it would take more effort to go back to where you started, and you don't want to go there, than where you're going. So whatever you're doing, keep healing, keep growing, keep slaying.